All right.
Like a fucking grinder.
Yo, what's up? What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ivan, the CEO. And in today's video, we're going to jump straight into it. I have two of my mentees here that have generated over six figures, and they haven't even been with me for a full year, but they are projected to reach this and a little bit more. I mean, six figures is six figures. We're not getting too much into too much detail, but I'm about to introduce you guys to them. You already know Brandel,
What's going on?
and this right here is Anthony. He's new to the channel. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about what you do, bro.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Anthony, also known as Zombie. I do have a YouTube channel, Zombie Don't Miss, where I pretty much upload my PC builds and I showcase them. Aside from that, I do sell PCs. I upgrade them. I build PCs for streamers, gamers, office PCs, just computers in general. I also do car rentals. I've been doing car rentals for about 6 months now, and I have 4 cars bringing in income.
Now, tell them a little bit about what you do, Brandel, because I know that they know you. They know a lot about what you do, but just for any new viewers out there, I want you to let them know what it is that you do.
How's it going, guys? As you know, my name is Brandel. I've been here a couple times. My Instagram, I'm gonna leave it down below. It's at Brandel_0. Go ahead and follow me there. So a little introduction of myself. I invest in the car rental fleet, which I have 2 cars, and I'm investing into the 18-wheeler business, which I have one 18-wheeler working right now, including offering credit services and business funding. It's a little bit about me.
And to jump straight into it, I want to go ahead and show you guys one of the ways that both of my, because really, I really consider them a little bit more than just mentees at this point. We work all the time. They're really close friends at this rate. I've known Anthony for a while, since high school. So, I mean, we go a little bit back. Actually, I know Brando as well from like junior high, but it's a little bit more than just mentees at this point. But this is a little bit about their success stories and how they leverage their credit to get into these industries. And I know that you guys probably follow up with Brando most likely, and if you don't, well, he's going to get to speak his part of the story, how he leverages his credit. But I want to go straight into Anthony's because there's a lot that the audience hasn't heard about when it comes to you. I mean, it's the first time that you're here on the channel, but I think it's a little bit intriguing how you leverage your credit to run and manage the PC company that you have, which not only does he do custom builds, he actually sells a lot of these PCs to offices. So actually businesses that like need these PCs for employees, streamers, things like that. I know that you recently just sold one to one of your friends that streams out there. I remember I saw that video that you posted. Yeah. But go ahead and explain a little bit on how you leverage your credit and how you even use that advantage, that capital, to scale and pretty much stop being out of pocket when it comes to the PC industry.
Right. So really it all started in college. My whole life, I've always been super into gaming and whatnot. Okay. I've always been on console though, you know, like PS4, Xbox, all that. But I was super into esports. I was on the esports team for Valorant in my university. And ever since then, I just been super into using the PCs. I wanted one for myself. And I pretty much looked up on YouTube how to build a PC, and I got it done. And from there, it's just been a snowball, you know, rolling. I started building more and more PCs for friends here and there, friends and family.
And if you don't mind me asking, did you start off using your own capital at first when it comes to building these PCs for family and friends, or were they giving you all the parts?
Right. So at first I was not using my own credit. I actually didn't really have any established credit at that point. I would pretty much use my own capital. Sometimes if they were able to, they would order the parts to me. I would get the PC build done, and then I would ship it back to them or deliver it to them, depending on, you know, where they are, how far they are from me.
Okay. And once you pretty much started learning a little bit more about credit with me and leveraging the credit, what made you, well, what's one of the things that just made you really try to scale using your credit to, because I know at first it started as a small business or just more like a hobby,
yeah,
to where you eventually created it into a business and you started taking it a little bit more serious?
So it was actually pretty quick. I started realizing at some point, you know, like there's actually money coming in from this. This is actually something I could do. I could make this work. So at some point, just flipped the switch and decided to stop using my own capital and start leveraging my credit with Ivan's help, of course. And once I started leveraging my credit, everything really did start like that's where the ball really started rolling. That's where I was able to start scaling up and like I said, instead of using my own capital, I'm using credit and
And you got to
it's
take
just
it to the next level?
yeah, exactly, pretty much.
And at what point did you decide to switch over from the PCs? Well, not really switch over, but start investing, pouring some of that capital, like with the credit, into the car rental space.
So obviously, you and me have always been in contact. We've always kept up with each other. We're like we mentioned, we're pretty close, and I would see how Ivan was into car rentals. And one day I was actually literally like laying down in bed, and I happened to scroll on TikTok, and I saw one of his free game Fridays where he started talking about how to, leverage your credit for a car to start off renting. And I just pulled the trigger really from just laying in bed. I started looking into it and just boom, pulled the trigger on Carvana. That might not be the most optimal way to go, but that's how I did it. And from then it's just been up.
And from the first initial investment that you actually made into the car rentals, what made you scale? Because, right, we talked about how you scaled the PC a little bit. How did you go about scaling from 1 to 4 cars in such a short amount of time?
Again, it's kind of the same thing as with the PCs, except for on a much larger scale. Real super quick, I started seeing the amount of income coming in, and it was it was just super shocking. I didn't expect to see that much coming in, and it just immediately, shortly after, something just hit me. Like I need to scale this as well. Like this is something that I can really build up on and start seeing even more cash flow. So shortly after, probably like 2-3 months into the car rental game, I was able to get my second car and put that into the fleet. So that just doubled my income from the car rental space. And same goes for the third and the fourth shortly after. I've only been doing this for 5 months, and it's super life changing, honestly.
And how shocking was it that you realized in just a short amount of time you were really close from going to 5 to 6 figures? And what made you make those 1 or 2 investments that just had you confident that you were right there? Like, I just need to make these 2 more investments and you're at 6 figures guaranteed this year.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just pretty shocking, because really from 5 to 6 figures, it's a huge difference, and I didn't expect any of this to happen really from just scrolling on TikTok one day to having one car the same week, and then a few months later, 2 cars, 3 cars, and now 4 cars. It's just crazy. Once I started doing the projections, you start realizing like, wow, so if I just add one more car, I can add X amount of income. And really, as I mentioned before, it's just a snowball. It just keeps on rolling. You're going up and up and up. And it really motivates you to keep on going and going and getting more cars or investing in different ventures.
And if you don't mind sharing, what is another venture that you would potentially want to invest in outside of the PCs, right? Because you're scaling that. It's already scaled. You have your whole like target audience, and even with the car rentals, what's something that you'd like to get into next?
So I won't get too deep into it, but real estate is definitely going to be my next move, to say the least. I'm not entirely sure which route I'll take with real estate, but it's definitely going to be in that little ballpark, in that area, that.
Most definitely, bro. So I mean, that's really crazy for you to see this much success in a little as 5 months. I don't think a lot of people see that type of success so quickly, especially at your age, and just by seeing a little video on TikTok, so it could really go a long way with either content. I mean, you should know that since you actually have your YouTube, which I believe is Zombie Don't Miss on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go ahead and subscribe, like his comment, like his videos and all that. They're really good content over there. But yeah, it's crazy how simple this credit game is for you to just go out and execute as long as you make the right moves, right? The right investments when it comes to any industry that you're really trying to get into. If you really just sit down and just intertwine that whole mentality, right, of you wanting to put your own capital into it when you can just substitute it with the bank's money, aka credit, right? It's a whole big game changer on how you go about starting a business, scaling a business, and just leveraging the bank's money, instead of your own capital. But instead of hearing it from me, I wanted you guys to hear from some success stories that we have here. That was Anthony, and he hasn't even been with me for a full year. I'm excited to see where you're going to be in the whole year, but I want to go into Brando's story. I know that you guys have heard a little bit about him, but I want y'all to get pretty much the full circle of how he started, how it's going for him, and just overall how the credit game has really simplified a lot of things when it comes to business ventures.
Yeah, guys, as you know, I still work a job to this day, but I was realizing at my job that I didn't want to work there forever. And I noticed that Ivan would post his 18-wheelers, and since my dad has his own 18-wheeler company, which he transports fuel, I kind of watched his story here and there, and I would see that he would offer credit repair, and I assumed it was either to get into the trucking industry or the car rental industry, which he was also starting to post little by little. So it was almost a similar story to Anthony over here, but it really just started with me paying attention to what Ivan was doing and how far you can take your credit. After a while, I winded up reaching out to Ivan, and we had a sit-down conversation where we sat down, talked over the numbers, and man, I'm sure you've heard it before from me, but it all sounded amazing on paper, right? We talked over all the numbers and how you can get into it, everything from repairing your credit to now having good credit and the right ways to utilize your credit. So it did start with the credit repair, but I took it a step further and took the mentorship program because I wanted to learn not only how to fix my own credit, how to fix other people's credit, but to also leverage my credit into other businesses. So the story continues, and I waited for my credit to get repaired, and we started working towards building an LLC and shooting for the car rental fleet industry goal. So I had a little bit of a hiccup situation where I needed to buy into what was it called? Well, the trade line. So I had to buy a trade line to boost my credit because it was a fairly new credit profile, and I was just rebuilding all my credit. So from there, I got the hit on my credit score. And of course, I was all excited, and I immediately called Ivan. I said, hey, look, check it out. I'm almost at the 700s. I was like at a 690, I believe. I'm not too sure, so don't quote me on it. But it was really fantastic to see my credit score go from like the very low 600s, like from like 610 all the way to a 90-point gain. So it was amazing. Like I couldn't believe it almost. And after a couple days, it just kept marinating in my head, where I just felt like it was too good to be true to invest into this car rental fleet. And, sometimes things sound good on paper, and if you don't take action, obviously you're not going to see the fruits of the labor. So I kind of just let it marinate, and I just accumulated all these bad thoughts when I shot all these ideas to family and friends. But it was a random, I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
I think it was Monday, guys. It was the beginning of the week. I had horrible days off, but I was in town, and Ivan's like, bro, it's time. Let's do it. We're going to go get the car today before your trade line runs out. And at this moment, I'm hearing all this. I'm hearing how we're going to do this, go to Del Rio, that he has a guy that's going to get me the best car for the best price. And my anxiety just went through the roof. I didn't know how to react, and I made all kinds of excuses for it. I remember coming up with all kinds of excuses like, oh, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. He's like, well, why, man? Like, let's just do it. Look, trust me, bro. If anything goes south, we just erase it and start over again. And I said, damn, I had this gut feeling where it was like, everything's going to be okay. Just do it. And I trusted Ivan to lead me through the process. And I gave him all my confidence, and we went ahead and went through. It was a long day that day, but it was a very successful win. I was able to drive around the car for a bit, so that was very, very cool. I got actually a car that I was actually going to buy, and I drove that around for like maybe 2 weeks. And then finally, my car came in because it was a 2025, so they had just shipped it over. So I was able to ride around in 2 Camrys basically for free. And to this day, even if I wanted to pull my Camry out, I could probably pull it out and still be good because of all the money it's generated me. So long story short, finally got the car, finally got it out, gave it a Cam, and he got the car moving, and immediately it rented out in like 5 to 6 days, maybe a week. And since then, it's been golden and golden. Every week is just profit. I just see straight money every week in my bank account. And it's been like that for the past, I don't know, 9 months since August I started. So once I started to see all that, I was able to get another increase on my credit due to the fact that I was paying all the car payments on time, and I still invested into the credit cards. So I got the car note and the revolving credit, and it all just amounted into a huge benefit. So it helped my credit go from 690 all the way up to 730. And I was sitting at 730 for a while, up until I think it was November, December, when I went to go finally pull the trigger on an 18-wheeler, because I was also interested on how Ivan was doing all that and how I could get into it by leveraging my credit and my dad. We had a couple hiccups along the road with the 18-wheeler, but as you know, it's all played out just fine. There was a lot of things that I didn't know about the trucking industry that I had to learn quick, but fortunately, Ivan knew every step of the way, and he was able to lead me in the right direction every step of the way. So I really appreciate that. So after the car, I was interested in seeing what else I could do. Not only did I want to invest into the car rental industry and the trucking industry, but I also wanted to invest into the credit repair. From there, I had a couple bumps in the road, as you've known from the previous video, where I had family issues, and just to keep it brief, I was having some difficult times and I went through a rough patch. So I had to step away from a couple things like the credit repair and just stick to the 2 cars that I had. And eventually I was able to get into the 18-wheeler. And just before getting into the 18-wheeler, I was already starting the credit repair services on my own, which also Ivan helped me scale that to what it is now. But that's about everything that I have up to now.
How did you feel? Because I know I asked the same question or a similar question to Anthony. How did you feel when you realized that you were really just 1 or 2 chess moves away, 1 or 2 investments from hitting that 6-figure mark? Because I remember when we talked about it on the back end, right? You were pretty excited once we ran all the numbers, how everything's looking, projected revenue and things like that, and profit and things like that. So how did you feel when we did all that and you realized, like, hey, like, if I make this investment and I make this move to be able to invest into this other thing, I could really be generating and making these 6 figures a year?
Yeah, man, I was super excited. I not only did I use my credit to invest into it, but I also used some of my capital. So it was a mix of both credit and capital. And it went a long way. I was super excited. We ran all the numbers, and thankfully, everything checked out. I'm hitting those 6-figure numbers. I was just so impressed on how easy and quick it was to reach those numbers. To me, it's a dream to reach those numbers. So I did not think that I would be there. I did not think I would be in a lot of situations that I'm usually in. But man, I just really stuck my head down and I dig deep and came out on top.
And I know that I asked the same question, Anthony, but it's just something that I have to ask you as well, just because I want the audience, right, to be able to see where, because y'all are talking about y'all success stories, right, where y'all started and where y'all at now, and just the thought process, right. So pretty much how you went from scrolling on TikTok, right? You found my video, you got inspired to start trying to see how you can start generating some income, getting to that next level, right, and start being an investor. You as well. But I just want to ask, now that you are invested, right? Now that you are at the six-figure mark, really outside of your job, because the trucking alone puts you close to those numbers. I'm not trying to disclose too much, but you already know, like, the trucking alone definitely gets you there. So even removing your job and still being at that six-figure mark, what are two other investments, or at least one? What is another investment that you would potentially want to get into as well? I know Anthony mentioned real estate. Is that something that you have in your plans? That's your next chess move?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the next chess move. Real estate, whether it might be short-term rentals, long-term rentals, or Airbnb. Just to keep it short, it's going to definitely be real estate.
And really, like, you guys get to see this, how simple it is, because both of, at this point, I'm not even going to want to call them mentees, but both of my friends here have actually been able to get to the six-figure mark, and they're there, and literally from two investments, really, because you guys have both made, what, two investments? I know you're deep three, but around 2 to 3 investments, you really get to start talking about, okay, like, I should get into real estate. So, I mean, really, it should be a big eye opener for everybody that's watching, that real estate at the end of the day is, everybody knows that that's the end goal, right? But if you just really start investing into one or two things outside of your 9 to 5, you can get very far in life to be able to pour money into real estate, which real estate is a big asset, which is one of the biggest things that I teach, which you guys should know, to not invest any capital, leverage your credit so that you can get assets, right? Working assets that generate you income, right? So that you can start getting into other assets that not only hold value, right, but just overall is the end goal for, I think, everybody. Like, you can talk to anyone at any age and they're gonna all say, oh, I want to get into real estate, I want to own a home. So really, like, leveraging your credit will definitely take you there and take you to the next level in terms of just life, right? Just mentality. And at the end of the day, the money comes with it. You know what I mean? So it's all back. It all leads back to your mentality. So that's definitely something that you guys should start thinking about, just switching up your mentality on how you go about your day to day, and just start trying to see what you can get done, the small steps, right? Because we took every small step of the way with both of you guys, really, to get to that bigger step, right? The bigger accomplishments, just pretty much being able to do a lot more than the average person, right? Not trying to put anybody down, but just, I mean, to be honest, at our age, really, because we're all young. I'm 22. Brando's 22. He's about to be 23. Anthony's 22 as well. You're actually 23?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, my bad. Yeah, so you're 23, 22. Anthony's 22. To be seeing success at this age is really, to me at least, right? It's really mind-blowing, because not a lot of people get to see this type of success at such a young age. I myself, I don't really see it as I'm successful, as maybe some people might see it as, but I just feel like I'm just setting the foundation, which I feel like that same mentality is what keeps me going to keep striving for more. So, like I said, it all leads back to mentality and just being able to leverage your credit, learning how to leverage it correctly so that you can invest into assets to generate income. Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants the money. Nobody knows how to get to it. There's a billion ways to get to it. I've always talked about trucking, car rentals. I do credit services just to help people get to that next level. I offer business services, right, which includes business funding, which you guys can leverage as well. That's also part that goes with credit. And I mean, you heard it here from Anthony. Anthony has took a completely different route when it comes to what I'm teaching, and he's just implementing the same strategies that I like to teach into a whole different industry, which I don't think anybody has been doing out there, like with the credit space, you know what I mean? So, I mean, being able to leverage your credit to use into the PC industry, like being able to sell PCs and things like that off the credit is, I like it. It's something that's definitely something outside the box. You know, it's something that you don't really hear about. So, I mean, I'm here with Brandel, Anthony. It's just part of their success. There's still a long way to go, but I'll let them tell y'all what I like to teach.
Turning credit.
Into businesses.
Y'all heard it here. It's just something that I like to do, which even if you don't want to listen to me, just watch all my free game that I be dropping out there. You're still going to get some game. I mean, you've heard it from Anthony. So, I mean, just really start thinking about that. Put that in the back burner. And like I said, leverage your credit. I can't stress it enough. You got to leverage your credit. You can invest your credit into cash flowing assets so you can really establish a business and just start succeeding, start winning, and start generating more passive income or just income that you actually have to work in, you know? So at the end of the day, it's just generating different streams of revenue. But I'm Ivan the CEO. You guys can catch me on the next video. I will be dropping a credit card stacking play soon with Brandel, which that's the same thing that I did with him to get him 2 American Express cards in one go. The American Express Delta Sky Miles Gold and the Platinum in one inquiry. So, I mean, stick around for that for the next video. But follow Brandel on Instagram, Brandel_0. Follow Anthony. What's your Instagram?
Zombie Don't Miss.
Zombie Don't Miss on Instagram. Zombie Don't Miss on YouTube. Brandel's about to launch his YouTube channel. He got a video coming on the way. So stay tuned for that. And it's Ivan the CEO, and I'm out.